What's up, friends? All right, so a lot of stuff is going on today with MCP, with Cloudflare's demo day, and Anthropic is doing some cool stuff, and yeah, things are things are happening today, and I'm excited about it. I'm also going to be participating in the demo day on Cloudflare TV, showing how to build an MCP server. I'm also in the middle of working on my MCP workshop, and so I thought I'll just live stream everything that's going on, and maybe we can do like live reactions to the demo day and be excited about it all together. So I was kind of in the middle of this. And I saw Anthropic posted something. So I haven't watched this yet. And let's just see what they posted. It's only 37 seconds long. So here we go. Okay, hold on. Back it up. So we're looking at a Confluence document. Okay, cool. Review my planning document in Confluence about our team offsite. Make a to-do list. Assign reasonable deadline for each task. Okay, cool. And we're on Claude.ai, not on desktop anymore. So that's exciting. Claude Desktop is the only thing so far that's supported MCP from Anthropic. So it looks like we're getting MCP support in the browser, which is great. That means remote servers only, which is interesting too. Happy to review. So first I got to retrieve the document, and here it's going to ask for permission. Oh, interesting. It's not asking for permission. So there could be tools that you say, you know what, just run this one every time. I know that you're going to do the right thing with it, which is interesting. So first it got the user info, or maybe it could also be smoke and mirrors, and they just made it so that it doesn't show the approval process, I suppose. Yeah, and then get accessible Atlassian resources. So first it's determining who you are, then getting your resources. I'm assuming that there was like some auth flow that happened at this point, or before this point, so that it knows who you are, or has an authentication token so you can actually do this stuff. This has got to be authenticated. You can't not. Now I'll search for information in your team offsite. Okay, cool. So that they've got their CQL that allows them to search on everything. So they've got a tool for that. Broader search, interesting. Search for your team offsite planning document in Confluence, and then a broader search to find your offsite planning document. Okay, so then it finally found it, I guess. So maybe its first search didn't turn up anything, but it's agentic. It's going to just keep on going, which I think is very cool. It's just like a human. You try searching here. Oh, I didn't find anything. Maybe I'll try searching here. So that is cool. And then, yeah, then it's summarizing. It's making a task summary. So that is neat. Would you like me to make any adjustments? Provide more details on any tasks? Can you add a task? Here it is right here for each of these items to my Jira board. I don't know who's making Jira boards for offsites, but the fact that it can do this is cool. And then I'm happy to do that. This is very fast. It would be really cool if it's this fast. Grabbing the offsite Jira board project, yada yada. Okay. Very cool, and it's summary, make lunch, yada yada, description. Very cool. It's just making an issue for each one of those. Man, this is awesome. Great, created all of those things. And now you look at the board, and boom, there they are. You know how long that would have taken a human assistant to do? Much longer. This is very cool. And what's really cool about this isn't some integration between Anthropic and Jira. This is Anthropic made a standard, Jira implemented the standard, and now they can communicate without having to talk to each other at all directly, without their teams having to integrate or anything. That is what makes this huge, and that's what makes this a Jarvis potential. It's very exciting. Yeah, very, very cool. Here, yeah, let me just do this. Reacting to this live. This is awesome. Okay, with integrations, Oh, hold on. Uh-oh. Integrations. Ooh, I take back what I said. This is a specific integration. Not as excited about that. It just means that their teams had to talk, and integrations is like, that's a thing everybody does. It's less exciting if it's not MCP. Because MCP means your teams don't have to talk. And if the thing is, most of us don't work at these big companies that can do these cool integrations with our apps. And we don't, like, if you do integrations, you have to convince Anthropic or convince OpenAI to integrate with your app. And they have only so much time to do that. MCP means we don't have to do this. And so I'm kind of bothered by that, by this being an integrations thing. I hope by integrations they actually mean this is all MCP. I know PayPal has an MCP server and Sentry, and like I'm pretty sure that's like it's MCP demo day. So hopefully by integrations they just mean MCP. That is the hope. Or developers can create their own Connect with any tool, and as little as 30 minutes. Okay, that does sound like MCP. Claude now automatically determines when to search and how deeply to investigate with research mode toggled on. Claude researches for about 45 minutes, up to 45 minutes. Whoa, that is wild. Okay, let's see, what's this all about? So everything looks pretty normal. Analyze shifting customer behavior. They didn't type that, so this isn't like a screen recording. This is a produced thing, although the last one was probably also produced as well. Research and analyzing. Okay. I wonder, it doesn't seem to tell us which tool it's using to do this search, which is interesting. Okay, yeah, that is cool. Yeah, interesting. Not really something I mean, I might use this if I'm trying to decide what camera to buy, or, you know, like a product or something like that. That could be pretty useful. What's the best monitor or whatever? Very cool. Okay, soon coming to the Pro plan. I'm on Pro plan. I don't know how much Max costs. Please, yeah, here we go. We launched MCP, open standard. Limited to cost desktop, and introducing integrations allowing Cloud to work seamlessly with remote MCP servers across the web and desktop apps. Developers can build and host servers that enhance Cloud's capabilities, while users can discover and connect any number of these to Cloud. When you connect your tools to Cloud, it gains deep context about your work, understand project history, task statuses, organization models. Cloud becomes a more informed collaborator, helping you execute complex projects in one place with expert assistance at every step. Oh, hold on. I just noticed there are people chatting and I missed it. Audio is a bit loud. Sorry about that. I'll bring it down, though. I think we're probably, probably done with that. Actually, no, here we're going to watch this one too. Cool. Sorry, I missed the chats as they came in. And thank you for the compliment to my new studio. When you connect your tools, Okay, let's see. Okay, this looks like a different video. Nope, just kidding. Same video. We just saw it. Why don't they let me have control over the video? Why would they do that? Boo. All right, anyway, we saw that. Start, you choose 10. Okay. More to follow. Yeah, very cool, very, very cool. Each integration drastically expands what it can do. Yeah, I mean, it looks like they're saying, yeah, we're building Jarvis. That's what it looks like they're saying, which would just be the best, would be so good. It just depends on, is it just tools, or can we also do sampling and prompts? I really want both of those things. And they say that they can do prompts, but I've never seen anybody like demo how you use prompts with Claude. So I still need to figure out how to do that. Okay, here's Zapier. What's new, Reed? What's on my calendar? I'll check what's on your calendar. Okay, allow once. Now it's going to look for in the Google Calendar, find multiple. here's what you have scheduled for today. Okay, very cool. That part doesn't improve on just going to Google Calendar yet, but can you tell me more about Lars? And now we're going to go to HubSpot. Okay, cool. So I can have one interface that talks to my calendar and then uses context from my calendar to look up something on something else. That does improve the user experience a bit. But I do still think that having UI as part of the MCP spec makes a lot of sense. And so hopefully that is something that we get. Okay, cool. So with access to Atlassian, Cloud can collaborate, building projects, yada, yada, yada. Okay, let's see what this is about. Was a mobile app part of our Vita Fleet MVP product spec? Oh, okay. Yes, very cool. Interesting. For the action items, I guess that was from a meeting or something, which is cool. We create all of those Jira tickets to track the heck out of our productivity and stuff. Okay, Intercom's AI, Agent Fin, now an MCP client. Yes. Can take actions like filing bugs in linear. Ooh, nice. Okay, hold on. I've been assigned the checkout button. Why is this quality so bad? Improve the quality of the video, please. I don't have any controls. Okay. I'd like to do checkout button silence fails. Yeah, so you notice like the LLM, when it does search, it does like natural language search, which means that if you're going to implement search for your own stuff, you want to vectorize your stuff. My personal MCP server for kentcdodds.com is pretty limited and on its search capabilities because it's just doing like a text match type thing. And so yeah, it's not all that good. And so we need to vectorize our stuff and support natural language search, which I think is fine. It's good. That's a good thing. It does eventually like find stuff most of the time. Okay. That is cool. We got likely causes and next steps. Very neat. What makes me more excited, so two things make me excited about this. One is that you get MCP, so anybody can build their own integration with Claude, and now in an environment that real people actually use, they'll be able to access your stuff and their stuff on your services, and then integrate that seamlessly, no glue code, with any other service. That is really, really exciting to me. And so seeing these demos of it working with a single thing is less interesting. This one was pretty cool because Zapier just connects all these different services together by itself, but with all the glue code that it's having to do. So I would like to see one of these demos showing how you can integrate multiple services together. That is what's more interesting to me. I should probably post mine. Actually, you know what? I've got it. I'm going to post mine. Where did I put that? Maybe I deleted it. Okay, so here we've got, it's in my slides for this guy. Okay. Download. Can I download this? All right, fine. We're going to cheat. There we go. Download my own video. This is what gets me really excited about MCP. And actually, you know what? Let's go to studio.x so that I can post this with a title and description and have it link over to Epic AI Pro. I wait until it's done processing before changing the title because once it finishes processing, it overrides the changes that I've made, and that's super, super annoying. So here we go. Let's just see MCP demo of interconnecting tools. Okay. What excites me about MCP is its ability to take different services and connect them in such a way that it seems like the AI assistant is actually an assistant. Okay, and let's go. I want Epic AI Pro posts. Yeah, letting AI interface with your. I want the talk. Here we go. That one. I built an MCP server that is 100% only accessible. No, let's see. Let's try that again. I built an app that is 100% only accessible via MCP. And then I also built 2 other MCP servers and used those 3 MCP servers together to accomplish a single task. What makes me really excited about MCPs is their ability to integrate with each other without having to do any of the glue code, turning your AI assistant into an actual assistant. All right, I kind of thought that. What makes me really excited, their ability to integrate with each other without having to do any glue code turns your AI assistant into an actual assistant. There we go. Okay, that's what makes me excited. We're gonna pin this guy. Should have put music on this thing or something. This was part of my demo in my talk at CityJS London. Okay, very good. Oh, whoops. Private messages. I hope none of that was something I shouldn't have streamed. Let me double check. It's just so, like, tempting. Yeah, nothing too weird going on over there, so that's fine. Okay, cool. Coming back to, oh, hold on. No way, no way, no way, no! I just posted, dang it. Because I had /post on it. Dang it, shoot. Okay, back it up, back it up. We gotta start over. I don't think that I can update it. Maybe I can, maybe I can. Studio.x, settings. Update this to not include posts. Yeah, okay. And now, if I go here and refresh, nope, rats. Okay, we're gonna repost. Let's double check the settings. Okay, post. Good. And then do this, copy that, delete this guy, and delete this guy. And then go here and pin this guy and reply with this. Post. There we go. All right. You didn't see anything. Okay. I used ChatGPT to help me write the lyrics. Actually, I used Cursor and ChatGPT to help me write the lyrics, and then Suno to write the songs, or to make the songs. Yeah. Okay. Very good. Coming back to our thing, we got this starting in 15 minutes. So exciting. Did I get down to the bottom of this thing? I don't think I did. Okay, so we went through intercom. Okay, advanced research, introducing several ways. Yeah, research. We looked at, saw that on their post thread. That was cool. Integrations, advanced research are now available in beta. Woo! So if I go to Claude.ai and I go to my settings, Claude Code is in here. That's fun. Profile, appearance, account. Hopefully, I probably shouldn't press billing on a live stream. I'm not seeing anything in here about integrations or MCP. I guess it makes sense that they would call it integrations instead of MCP. That's a good call on their part. So, for the small price of $83 more than I'm paying already, I can get 2 more little dots, and they turn blue. No, just kidding. Wow. 5 to 20x more usage than Pro. So I'll tell you what, if they really do build a Jarvis, then I absolutely will do this. I'm just not sure that I just don't know if I'm ready to spend that much money on something. I don't think that they have everything, but yeah, hopefully it comes to Pro soon, as they said, and then I don't have to pay that much. For information, getting started, integrations, MCP Server, Help Center. Let's go there. Using remote MCP. Feature is in beta. Okay. Beware custom integration. Yes, that's good. Carefully review requests to invoke tokens. Or tools, yeah, especially for tools that may send data. Yeah, right here, the AI should do that for me. Boom, right there. AI, you are responsible for that. You choose the most relevant tools. We'll get there. Eventually, we will have a Google for MCP servers. Hopefully before too long. And then the LLM will use that to decide what is what. Okri, what's up? Is it now possible to do this from Cloud AI not only on Cloud's desktop? Yes, but it appears to only work for Cloud Max and Cloud Team and Enterprise plans. So yeah, I would really like to see what the user experience is for adding an integration. And the fact that you have to add an integration is not something I love either. I want just one, like it's just a built-in feature that it goes and finds the right tool for the job and asks me, hey, I found this tool for Google Calendar. Do you want me to use it? Yes, thank you. Oh, I need to authenticate you first. Okay, great. You're authenticated. Now go ahead. Custom integrations let you connect Claude directly to the tools and data sources that matter most, your workflows. This enables Claude to operate within your favorite software. Draw insights. Yep, very cool. Build your own remote MCP server. Yeah. What are remote MCP servers? Open standard created by Anthropic for AI. Previously, MCP servers primarily ran locally on the user's laptop. Yeah, now developers can build and host remote MCP servers and communicate with AI over the internet. That's what we're talking about. I knew it from the very beginning. I was like, why are we all doing this locally? But no, I don't want to do it locally. Host it on the internet. It's just a website for AI. Internet hosted tools, data, yada, yada, yada. And to be clear, I do think that there's still a lot of room for locally running MCP servers, but I think most of them will be remote. Getting started with custom integrations using existing. Okay, let's take a look at what that links to. Oh, interesting. They take you, that's like straight up. Invalid token. Now we're talking. That is, I wonder if they're just using Cloudflare for this. Let's see. Headers. Cloudflare. Bang. Yeah, now we're talking. They are probably using the same authentication stuff that I am with, on Cloudflare, which is so cool. Pretty sure PayPal is as well. So that's neat. Ooh, PayPal.ai. How fun is that? Wow, that's cool. Whoa. Oh my gosh, that is awesome, actually. I love that. Man, got to do cool stuff like that more. MCP server, blog. Interesting. I think it's, yeah, mcp.paypal.com. And the URL, oh, they have it as that. Where's the remote URL? Okay, so they want you to make your access token and stuff. Hopefully that is not the case in the near future. mcp.paypal.com/sse. Aha, yeah, now we're talking. And that also running on Cloudflare, almost positive. Cloudflare, bang, there it is. Oh, that was Jay Larkey talking. I couldn't see your face in, or the it's very pixelated from my view. So hi, if you're still watching. Okay, so that is exciting. We're gonna see a demo of like most of these today in 10 minutes. So that is exciting. Okay, so those are the pre-built ones. For example, Zapier, thousands of apps using Zapier's pre-built connection. So Zapier already did the work. And basically, MCP makes Zapier irrelevant, but Zapier's like, no, we're gonna like take control of our destiny here, and we're gonna make it so all of those other services don't need to bother with MCP because we already handle it. And those services are all gonna eventually build MCPs themselves, and then who knows what Zapier's gonna do. I think actually it could make a lot of sense for Zapier to pivot and be the Google of MCP, where the LLM can use Zapier to find the most appropriate tool. I think that would make a lot of sense. Building integrations, model context protocol, GitHub, documentation. Yeah, so that's just the MCP pages. Adding integrations to Claude. Well, anyone can build and host integration remote MCP. Only primary owners or owners can enable it on Claude for work plans, team and enterprise. Well, that makes sense that they would want to, like, especially early days, you want to really just limit what servers people can use. You don't want them like installing a random server that takes all of your access keys and stuff. Yeah, very good. That makes tons of sense. Settings, integrations. I wonder what happens if I go there. Nope, it just redirects me because I don't have integrations. Settings, data management, and also gonna get redirected. Yeah. Locate the integration sections, add more. Okay, cool. Claude Max, settings profile, locate integrations. Okay, so I'm on my profile. Integrations. Oh yeah, they already had this. No, they already had this stuff. And there was glue code that they wrote to make those integrations happen. And now that integrations piece is going to include an add more, which it doesn't right now for me because I'm not on Max. Kind of feel like maybe I should just jump on Max so that I can see what it's like. But that's a lot of money, my friends. Hey, it's Cloudflare developers. Hello. All right, so removing, editing, integrations. Yep, okay, enabling integrations. For integrations that require quick connect, you go through the audit. Oh, okay, that makes sense. That's interesting. So I have an MCP server that, oh, no, that would work fine, I think. So what would happen with my MCP server, I got to test this out. So my MCP server does not actually show you an authorization page where you get to authorize. It automatically authorizes everybody, but then it associates that authentication to just an unclaimed token. And then when you, let's see, at that point, it also sends an email to the user. Well, no, let's see. Yeah, so you would invoke the authenticate tool with your email. Then it'll send you an email with a code that is associated to your grant, your authorization grant. And then when you validate that token, then it's like, okay, so you are this user, and now you're associated with that connection. So yeah, that should work. I don't think that there should be any issues with that whatsoever. Very cool. I really kind of think maybe I should just make my like bite the bullet and grab Max so that I can test that out. Also, I need to actually deploy it. I've been waiting because I'm like, I don't want to do migrations. So just kind of waiting to make sure that I'm happy with the data model. And I think I am. Kind of feel like there was something I was just thinking about recently. I was like, oh, I probably need that in my data model, but yeah, maybe not. Only connected, oh yeah, so it's just giving you some more security things, connect to trusted servers, review permissions, beware prompt injections. This is called tool poisoning. And this is your job, Anthropic. You need to check out the MCP servers. And there's even a tool for this. MCP scan from Invariant Labs will run a scan on your tools and see whether there's some prompt injecting going on. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, side note, blah, blah, blah. Yep, there it is. Attempt to instruction overwrite via pseudo tag. Yep. So anyway, they should use this as a built-in, and then users don't have to worry as much. Probably should still worry. It's a cat and mouse game with security, but yeah. Monitor changes in tool behavior. You know what? I should turn on my stream beats. There we go. Just because it's kind of quiet. I like it to not be so quiet. There we are. Okay, anyway. Tell me if that music is too loud. I think it might be a little bit too loud. It's supposed to just be like soft music in the background. There we go. Yeah, reporting, that's cool. Taking actions with tools. Yeah, yep, this is great. Very cool. Okay, so hold on a second. Yeah, that was just the help page. Yeah, that's it. So this is the whole thing. Okay, cool. Very exciting. I still don't know that they support prompts. I want documentation for developers. If we go to here, actually, they do have the MCP documentation. For server developers. Here we go. Yeah, so this is just like just getting started. Doesn't really say. Yeah, this hasn't been updated. Yeah, it doesn't say whether other like resources and prompts are supported. Example clients. Here we go. Claude, where are you at? Yeah, this hasn't been updated yet either. But see, it says it supports prompts and resources as well as tools. I do not know how. Don't know how to use those things. So anyway, let's see where we're at here. Just 2 more minutes for that. Let's go, Cloudflare devs. I hope you're okay with me doing a live reaction. I probably should ask. I don't think that they would mind, but they did hide this behind a sign up, and so there could be a reason. It's not exactly hidden by a sign up. Let me show you how this actually is. Here's where you sign up, but then you can click on this and you get a calendar event. Here, if we go here, calendar event that includes the live link. You don't have to actually sign up. So I don't think that it's actually all that secret, but yeah, anyway, very exciting. I should probably close down a couple of things while we're doing this. I gotta fix this. There's one thing really quick. That test should not be passing. Oh, hold on. I'm in the wrong thing. Go away. Yeah, oh, ha. Because this is down. All right. There we go. Set playground tests. Play. It should not be passing. Good. It is not. That's right. I really got to figure out what's going on there. I got to update the workshop thing. Let's do this. Great progress. Push. Would hate to lose some work. Very excited about this stuff. This is going to be very cool. Any second now, this should start automatically. Refreshing. Oh, there we go. Okay, turning off my music now. Oh, wrong thing, paused.
Wonderful. Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to MCP Demo Day.
Hold on. Why is that? That is weird. All right. Let's speed it up. And thumbs up and share as a post. Watch live. This is gonna be fun. Changing the way users interact with your tech or your apps. All right, there we go. Just didn't want to miss anything. So we're backing it up, back 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 it up. Begins shortly.
Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to MCP Demo Day. My name's Brendan Renbrook. I'm Director of Product here at Cloudflare, and joined by my co-host, Mahesh Murray, Product Manager at Anthropic. And today, we're really excited to be joined by 9 leading internet companies who each built model context protocol servers on Cloudflare in the past couple weeks. The space is moving so fast, and we've been really excited just to see so much momentum behind MCP. And they built these using the Cloudflare Agents SDK, and everything we're going to show today is a real demo that's live and in production on Cloudflare. And so these are some of the first MCP servers that end users can connect to over the internet and grant access to. And Anthropic announced earlier today, this all happens directly from Cloud.ai or other MCP clients without installing or running any of these things locally. A lot of what's been going on to date with MCP has been around building things for developers, all of us early adopters, and today's really this wonderful moment where this is reaching a much wider set of people. And so it means that each of these companies you're going to hear from today, they're kind of getting ready for the next wave of MCP servers and MCP adoption as things kind of expand to a new set of people into the workplace and kind of how everybody can use AI. And that's really made possible by some of the outstanding work from the team at Anthropic, and that's why we want to have Mahesh join this live stream. Mahesh, do you want to tell people a little bit more about what Anthropic announced earlier today?
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, Brendan. Thanks for Cloudflare for being a part of this.
Oh, he is very quiet.
Well. What we specifically just launched an hour ago, so very hot off the presses, is the ability for people to bring any MCP server that's remote into Cloud.ai. Taking a step back, I think what we've been incredibly excited about with MCP from the very beginning, and now I think the rest of the community as well is super excited, is AI models and AI apps are only useful when you can actually bring the context and data into them. And MCP is the standard that's made that possible. I think people have been already very excited about local MCP servers for quite a while, but as you called out, there are a bunch of friction points with that. You have to go fiddle with NPM or PyPy or figure out how to run these locally on the computer itself. But what we're launching today is the ability for Claude to talk to remotely hosted MCP servers, a lot of them on Cloudflare, which we're going to see in a bunch of those demos. And as you kind of called out, I think this makes MCP 10 times more accessible, and we're going to start seeing this become the standard, not just for the devs that are building
Let's see if
AI apps, but also
they gave me permission.
Using,
they said
AI
it was okay.
apps
Oh, here we go, Rita. Thank you.
Most importantly, I think it does this securely. Remote MCP, a big part of it is the auth protocol.
said so.
Which Cloudflare obviously also supports, and all of these servers are actually secured by OAuth. So the servers and the apps only have access to the specific permissions that you give them. So anyway, highlight, very excited.
Yeah,
to be
OAuth
here,
support
very
was
grateful
very
for
smart
being,
because
big
it
part of
has
the ecosystem,
built-in
and
like
hope
scopes and
today,
all
and I
that
think
stuff
over the next
already.
couple of months, remote is going to be the next phase of MCP and something
Yes.
we're all very excited about at Anthropic.
Wonderful. Thanks, Mahesh. I also wanted to shout out everybody who's been contributing back to the specification, keeping this an open ecosystem. It's been really cool over the past couple months to see the spec really evolve in a couple different directions, especially around authorization. Excited about where things are going. So before we get into demos real quick, I wanted to share a little bit of what the companies you're about to hear from have kind of gone through, because each of these companies, as we've been talking to engineers there, they've been getting up and running really, really quickly. And so they've kind of each of the companies you'll hear from started here, working with the Cloudflare Agents SDK, and then going to just quickly deploy an MCP server to Cloudflare. And so if you can take a look here, they've each kind of gone through this workflow, gotten set up with a new project, deployed something. And I figured, I'm going to change the name of this one because I've been deploying a bunch of MCP servers this morning. And once that kicks off, I figured we might use MCP to introduce our presenters today.
Ooh, that's
So
fun.
earlier today, we spun up an MCP server specifically to MCP Demo Day. And I'm going to ask it a little bit about who is presenting today. And it's going to go off and it's going to look at this, query this tool. It's going to come back. And
We
it's
need
gonna
this to
tell
be a
us,
lot faster.
Okay, here are the presenters today. So
It's
today
not
you're going to be hearing
terrible,
from
but it
Atlassian,
needs to be faster.
obviously from us, from Intercom, Linear, PayPal, Sentry, Square,
And this right
Stripe,
here is
and
where
Webflow.
having UI
And
would help a
so
lot
with that,
because
I'd like to
a wall
kind
of
of
text is
kick
like,
things
okay,
off.
fine,
Oh,
but like
before we get started,
having
one
UI
more thing.
where it'll show their pictures and stuff
We
would be
should
really
mention
cool.
that if you are interested in building an MCP server and deploying that to Cloudflare, we're going to be hosting a session.
That's me!
Right
Woo!
after this with Kent C. Dodds,
Whoop,
who's
whoop.
been doing a lot with the
Let's
Model Context
go.
Protocol recently. So if you're watching on YouTube right now, if you subscribe to the Cloudflare YouTube channel, we'll have that on the same feed right after this. But with that, I am really excited to pass things over to Davey Malone, who's over at Intercom. Davey, I'll let you take it away.
Thanks a million. Hi, everybody. So let's get started. Hi, I'm Davey. I'm a senior product engineer at Intercom. For those unfamiliar with Intercom, we're an AI customer service company offering Finn, our AI agent, who works alongside your human teams through our next generation help desk.
Very excited.
The Intercom MCP server that I'll be demoing today was created and deployed using Cloudflare. It was insanely easy to get this up and running really quickly.
Look at Davey's
So creating
image
this
quality. My
MCP
goodness.
server
What a
is
count-
just the first
yeah.
step that we're taking to make customer queries easier
setup.
to access and act upon. So let's dive in. The demo I'm about to share illustrates a workflow where an engineer is investigating issues assigned to them on Linear. Customers have reached out through the Intercom platform, and our AI agent Finn has created Linear issues linking back to the customer conversations in Intercom. I'll play the role of the engineer here. So the issue I'm debugging at the moment is a problem with the checkout system on an e-commerce store. I'm going to ask Claude to help me with this issue. The conversations can be seen in Intercom here. We can see we have 3. And so let's open up Claude.
The one sad thing about the way
go.
that this demo day is going to happen is each of these demos is going to be like one product at a time.
So the first
and
thing
what's
I'm
more
asking
interesting
here
is when
for
multiple
Claude to
products
use a
integrate.
Linear MCP server
So we'll
to
get there
pull down
eventually.
the issue, and we can see it's searching, and it's actually not able to find the issue that I'm looking for. So I'm going to switch to the old classic. Here's one I prepared earlier. So what I've got here is
It's still
a
early
chat with
days,
Claude,
people.
where
This
I
will get better.
first searched for the Linear issue. it pulled back down the linear issue that I was looking for. It found it by name, and it noticed that there were 3 intercom conversations linked in that issue. So the next thing I did was I asked for it to get those intercom conversations. And we can see here it used the search conversations tool from our intercom MCP server. And it pulled down each of those conversations, and it gave us a brief little overview of the contents of each of those conversations. And so then the next thing I asked was to get each of the intercom contacts, the users who created those conversations. So again, we reached back out to our intercom MCP server, and we pulled down each of those intercom users. And we can see we got a brief summary here of each of the attributes for each of those intercom users. And these are actually just the attributes that are like on the main part of the contact, and some of them are the common ones between each of those users. And so we're already noticing some interesting patterns here between those users as well. I'll get into that in a few minutes. So then the last thing I asked was for some intercom data events. And the reason I asked for this is because it actually gives us some insight into user intent in the product. So we can actually see some of the actions that the user was taking in the product when they started experiencing this issue. And so I pulled down those events, and we're starting to see a pattern of each of the users were adding the same item to their cart. And so then the last thing I asked Claude to do was to summarize the issue. So I asked Claude to identify any patterns in the data and share next steps for resolving the issue. And so it shared an issue description, and it identified a few key patterns. We can see that all the users who were experiencing this issue were in Frankfurt, Germany. They were all using the Mac OS, and they were all on the same app version. Also, we've highlighted here that each of the users were using a different browser. So that, to me, says that the browser is probably not the issue here. And now we can leverage some of that user intent data that we got from the user events in Intercom to see that all 3 users were adding blue jeans to their shopping cart. And now the other thing we get from the conversation history that we've pulled down from Intercom is that one user was able to resolve their issue by removing certain items from their basket. So that gives us some insights into potentially this was an issue related to that product. And so Claude was also able to give me some next steps here and to outline a plan of action to try and resolve this issue. So with Claude's help, I now know where to look to solve this. But we can take this a step further and even see integrations with tools like Cursor helping act on this information as well. We chose to build this on Cloudflare because it's scalable, secure, and built to help teams move way faster. The wealth of examples and documentation around MCP servers made it easy for us to get up and running really
Cursor
quickly.
is rad.
And taking a step back,
Cursor
our
is rad,
broader
but
vision
Cloudflare is
here
rad.
is
It's
to
got so
empower
much.
Finn, our AI agent, as an MCP client to take action and resolve customer issues across third-party and custom MCPs without needing developer resources. And that's all from me. Thank you very much for listening.
This is really cool. They could have built
Davey,
all
that
of this
was
stuff
wonderful, and
inside
shout out
of
for
Intercom,
backup demo
and maybe they
plans,
have some of
with
these
this.
features
That's
where you
really
can
cool.
derive what the problem is.
What I loved about this
but,
demo was I thought was really cool
like,
was
they're using tools that people
mirrors
actually
the
use.
experience that
That's
developers
cool.
go through, where you have a million tabs open, you're trying to bring out all this context, and you can kind of have one tab open and ask for summarization and kind of go back and forth with things. That's just so clearly like what I've done as an engineer in the past. So it's cool to see.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It's so powerful. It's all about just bringing that context into the one place. And also, like, the LLM is much better at noticing patterns that you might not necessarily notice when you've got a million tabs open and you're clicking through everything and you've read something like, 2 hours ago, but you can't remember what it was and you haven't connected everything together yet. So I think that's what the really powerful thing here is.
Absolutely. And Mahesh, I imagine you're thinking about all kinds of other capabilities that you'd love Claude to have to be able to act on those things too.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing here that I'm really excited about with Intercom, which you kind of showed, is being able to pull in data from other sources too and use that to act on your support tickets. So I feel like Claude or any AI app becomes like the central dashboard, which we're really excited about. We love Intercom too. So
yes, that's what is exciting, is that it can integrate multiple services together.
Well, while we're getting things going, Davey, I'm curious for one more thing. Is there anything that you were showing a demo that involved multiple MCP servers. Are there other types of kind of integrations between, customer context and other things that you're thinking about using your MCP server for?
I think for MCP at Intercom, the thing that we're really thinking about at the moment is how Fin could interact with all of these MCP servers that are being deployed, like with Cloudflare and other sources, and thinking about integrating with Stripe or integrating with Linear, creating issues, reading issues, and really just getting customer issues resolved much quicker.
Wonderful. Great. Well, for our second demo, I want to kick things over to Brendan Lane at PayPal. Brendan, I
PayPal!
remember somebody
was
from
there.
your
I
team
love
was one of
PayPal.
the first people who messaged us
I
on a
do not know
Friday, and I think
Brendan,
by Monday you had an
but I'm
MCP
sure
server
that
up
he's
and
great.
running, and we were really excited. So take it away.
Yeah, things have been moving super fast. We've been very excited by how easy a lot of this stuff has been. So I am going to talk super briefly about our agentic commerce demo with our new PayPal MCP server. And just briefly to introduce myself, I'm Brendan Lane. I actually lead the developer product teams here at PayPal. And just kind of diving right in, we want to talk about like how the world has changed very quickly. So, until now, if you were a person, a user, you wanted to find something online and buy it, we've probably all done this. Let's say you're shopping for clothes, maybe you want to go get the looks on social media, or something you want to buy, you probably search for it, compare prices, check out. This is something we've done a ton of times. And if you were, like, say, a business, you're a business today, you want people to come and find things to buy from you. You probably think about, like, hey, how do I do some SEO, some SEM? How do I run a sale to kind of get people to
Sorry, it's so
figure
quiet.
out what I've got and
I'm
hopefully
not
buy
sure.
a few of
That's
these
coming
things?
from the YouTube video.
Now there's really a different way of doing things that we can unlock pretty simply through MCP servers. So today, with something like Claude and MCP servers, we can make possible for a person, or in particular their agent, to go buy something through a simple conversation. And let me show you a little bit how that works briefly, and then we could talk about like what are the implications of something like this. So we recorded us doing this a little bit earlier, but here we are talking to Claude. And actually, the first time I typed this in, I said, "Hey, I wanna buy some hoodies," and I went ahead and misspelled hoodies because I fat finger things all the time. And Claude was like, "Yo, no problem. I know what you want. Let me show you some hoodies. I'm gonna bring some up for you." And this is where it's showing us using a tool for this chat. And in this case, this is a tool available for our MCP server. So we put all our product catalog online from all the companies that work for us. And we suddenly have a whole bunch of different hoodies that we can present to you if you want to buy something. And you can see here that Claude found a few, right? It gives you a quick
Right
summary.
here, we need UI.
There's
So you
women's,
can
there's
return
men's,
images.
different colors. We talked
That's in the
about
spec. I don't think Claude
styling of it a
supports
little
that
bit.
yet, but
While it would
having
probably be
UI,
super
like,
fun
can you
to watch
imagine
me
cards for
browse
each one of
through hundreds
these
and hundreds
would be
of hoodies
way
over the
better.
next
And
hour,
I've
which is
got
something I would do.
I've got a
I just
discussion
went ahead
on
and
the
picked one. I said,
MCP
"I'm gonna
spec
buy this
for
hoodie
UI. I think it will happen.
today." And so it says, "Great, we are gonna bring in another tool, and we're gonna go ahead and help you learn more about this thing. And then if you're interested, you can go ahead and buy it right now." So when I asked about this hoodie, here's details. We have the price, we have sizes, it actually can check inventory. So all of these things are tools that are giving you recent, up-to-date information, and a person like me can go ahead and use this to shop and buy something. But maybe even more interestingly, like an agent could do this, an agent acting on somebody's behalf. And that opens up a whole bunch of interesting use cases. In this case, I'm saying, hey, let me buy a small one. Here's my email. And just like if you were personally clicking through a website, it says, cool, like let's go ahead and check out. And we're showing you all the different tools we put available on this MCP server, letting you kind of add each one. There is a way to do this in bulk, so you're not clicking through every time. We just want to show how it works. But you can see this is returning a session just like if you were using an API today to sort of buy something in the e-commerce world. All the same things are happening, except now it's available through an LLM. And now it would be available to work with other sort of shopping bots, shopping agents, things that might be trying to do commerce on someone's behalf. So actually right now, this is the one part I can't really show easily.
Yeah, that's what I'm excited
there's a
about.
multi-factor
Birds are not
auth
real,
check.
person.
So in this case, it's sort of pinging my PayPal app and saying, hey, do you want to confirm this is you and you want to buy something? We can also send you a text, all the other ways that we have security online. So I just typed in like I've consented, it got the signal on the back end. And now it's actually pulling up a wallet. And in this case, I'm using a PayPal developer sort of test example because I didn't want to put my real credit card number in front of everybody, but it'll pull in all your real information. It'll show bank accounts, credit cards, anything you have saved. We've got shipping address saved, and it's pretty.
I appreciate the validation.
Like, yeah, I'm going to use my bank account, my debit card, whatever, and send it to my house. And you can actually see here what we typed in was in some ways like shorthand. You don't have to give it very explicit instructions. Claude can figure out.
That is the beauty of natural language.
Call it my fat fingers or some pretty quick speech. And once you say, hey, go ahead and buy this thing, it does buy it, right? You're seeing an actual sort of API response, the same thing you would get if you were buying something online. It's going ahead and shipping to your saved, your saved shipping address, and it's got all your information. And like, this is done. We really just bought something right now via an LLM.
The difference, Mayank, is that you don't have to do any of the glue code, and LangChain requires like specific integration from one service to another. But MCP gives a standard protocol across all services, and so any service can communicate with another through the AI assistant. So this is very different from what LangChain is doing.
PayPal MCP server, it is attached to almost all of our existing production APIs that work at scale today. It was super fast and easy to do this as a developer, and it unlocks a whole
MCP really is actually pretty easy.
Agents now, you keep hearing me talking about agents. Like, yes, a person can go buy something through Claude very easy, but it's also possible for developers to build experiences where some agent acting on someone's behalf can start moving money. It can, buy things for a business or buy things for a person. And it's not just the actual sort of payment itself that's available, but we have all the sort of shopping and commerce use cases you might want. So we have product catalogs up there from a bunch of different businesses. We can help verify your identity. We can help you actually make a purchase. We can change prices and currencies. We can do a lot of the post-purchase stuff that we care about, like check your shipping and see when these shoes or hoodie or whatever is actually.
Yeah, we need
and this really unlocks a lot of
UI like generated for some of this. Like this one is especially is just like I need a UI. The users want to be able to see the shirt or see the hoodie and tap on the one that they want. Like this is really important, and it will come. I'm sure it will come.
Go buy me some new toilet paper once a month because that's when I tend to run out. A lot of the stuff that you kind of had to watch around and sort of do yourself, you no longer have to do. You can kind of hand it to something smart and say, hey, just go take care of this for me, and it'll actually complete the purchase, use the card, the bank, whatever you want, ship to your house, and it all just works. And in some sense, we were excited to see like how fast and easy this was to build. And the last, sort of thing we like to start telling people now is actually the technology to do a lot of this stuff is there today. It's made super possible by MCP. Claude is able to kind of ignore my fat fingers, figure out what I want, and just go do it. And as we have sort of seen how fast the technology moves, it kind of reminds us that in some sense, our capabilities are ahead of what people sort of understand and realize today. And we think in order to get people to really start using this, sort of building trust, building awareness, building security are really important, right? So the first time you see this, you're like, whoa, wait, what just happened? Did money just move? Yes, it did. And the exciting thing, and the reason we're super excited to partner with people like Cloudflare, is we think that by sort of having that trusted name, by being able to tell people like, yes, money's really going to move, but you can trust that these people are who they say they are, these sites are who they say they are, this is not some weird fraud thing going on. Building that trust is really what's going to be important to get people to try this stuff out and use it at scale. But it's very much possible to do a lot of interesting shopping experiences today and to build agents to kind of act on people's behalf. So very excited to see how fast this has moved. And I think there's a lot of possibilities we are just beginning to touch. And that's it for me.
It's a great demo. Authorization and OAuth is like red
He's
hot in
way louder.
2025. I've spent more time reading OAuth RFCs this year than any other time in my career.
Same.
It's been really cool to see demos like this that kind of push the bounds of, what permissions are being granted and how those interaction flows should work. Mahesh, I actually had a question for you because a lot of what's shown in there are kind of these interactive or things like maps or addresses or payment information. How are you thinking about Claude.ai and how it should present different types of content?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I
UI.
think we've only kind of scratched the surface on this. One of the reasons I've been excited about Claude for years now is things like artifacts and these richer interfaces that we can help the model present to the user on the side. There's a lot of potential, I think, with MCP for servers to return these richer interfaces,
Yes.
to return things like HTML that render
Yes.
inline as you're talking to the model. Or even to return, consent dialogues or different bits of information it wants to elicit from the user. So both from the protocol perspective, but also Claude.ai being able to consume that information, there's a lot more room for this, and that's what I'm super, super excited about. But yeah, also a lot of work for us to do.
Awesome. And then Brendan, I'm curious, like you mentioned developers building their own agents on top of PayPal. I'm curious with that, like what are the types of agents that you're most top of mind for you that you want to get developers trying? Like what should people listening to this start experimenting with?
What I personally find most helpful for me is basically taking care of my pet peeves. I drink a lot of LaCroix. I can build a little agent to just order me some more each week. I can tell it to do things like, hey, make sure it's delivered every Thursday, but pick the cheapest local place or look for the flavors I like first and have them sent to my house. I like the fact that Claude can really help understand logic and sort of handle errors, right? If my local grocery store is out, it knows to go to the next store in line and it'll just do it for me. I don't have to think about it. It's really been amazing how much of my life can be simplified by just having something that understands instructions and can just go.
Very cool. We are really big right now at Cloudflare on kind of self-hosted personal software, and I think there's so many opportunities to build MCP servers kind of for yourself, just like what you're describing. Wonderful. Well, with that, I think we have our next presenter, Stuart from Asana. I'm going to kick things over to you.
Hey everyone, thanks Brendan. Yeah, I'm Stuart. I'm an engineer at Asana working on our latest feature, AI Studio. And today I'm here to show you what you can do with Asana's new MCP server. So at Asana, our mission is to enable the world's teams to work together effortlessly. And we do that by managing their tasks, their projects, and their goals to make collaboration with teammates and AI a lot simpler. So because work today lives across so many different apps and services, we wanted to invest in MCP to enable this kind of agent-driven interoperability between Asana and the different ecosystem of apps that our customers rely on. So users will be able to do things like pull statuses, update their tasks and deadlines, and create and manage projects from any MCP client just using natural language. So let's dive in. Okay, so I've set up a couple of sample projects for the purposes of this demo. And let's imagine for a second that we're working for the Lumen Corporation on a little project called Cold Harbor. So a situation that we all might have been in before is being at the start of a project and having a PRD or project plan document that you then kind of need to translate or encode into your ticketing or task management system. So I've had Claude generate me a Cold Harbor project requirements document. So we've got a task breakdown over here that I'm interested in. It has a bunch of assignees and their associated tasks and descriptions. What we're going to do here is we're going to ask Claude to take this and just convert it into a fully created and assigned set of tasks in Asana. Here we go. So we're connected to the Asana MCP server here. with all our associated tools. And whoops, I accidentally hit do not allow. Here we go.
There we go.
And yeah, Claude is now going through and hitting our different tool calls to create these tasks. So now it's pulling my user ID, and if all goes well, we should see it show up right here. And you see the first subtask here assigned to myself. And yeah, a couple of my teammates will be getting a couple of weird pings, but I'll apologize to them later. All right, so that's one potential workflow, right? Where you can take a project plan and convert it into a set of tasks in Asana. Now let's switch gears and take a look at a project that's more in flight. So here I've set up a different project with a Gantt chart view, and something that I often run into is after the weekend or after some time off, it's a bit hard to catch back up on a project and figure out, okay, what's still left for me to do, what's been done, etc. So let's just ask Claude to summarize the tasks left for me to do on this project, flagging any that are overdue. All right. It's getting the tasks in the project. And it let me know what's left. So one thing I notice is that I'm actually behind on this this task to get some statistics for Mr. Milchick. Why don't we push that deadline back by a week and move the associated milestone? And for good measure, let's add a comment about why it was late. All right, so you can see the task over here and the milestone down there. And there you go. Due date has been updated. I think it is taking a look and yep, adding a comment right here. And finally, bumping up this milestone down here. Great. Okay, so
That is actually way cool to use natural
flash
language for
forward
something
a
like
couple
that.
days, and another situation you might often run into is there's been a project status sync. There's a bunch of action items and a lot of things you have to update in this project. So let's take a look at this Slack message that I got from my boss after that meeting. We've got a bunch of different action items here. We have some tasks to complete, some due dates to push out, and some tasks to reassign as well. So I've also prepped that in here, and I'm just asking Claude to take action in this project based
Dude,
on
that's quite the prompt.
the copy
Jeez.
paste of this Slack message. So what you can expect to see here is that Claude is going to go through all those action items, tick off the completion statuses of a bunch of tasks, add a couple of new ones, shuffle some due dates around, and also reassign a couple of the tasks. What's also neat about this is, by taking these actions and updating the states of your tasks and projects, it also can hook in directly to Asana's built-in workflows and automation system. So something that's happening here is after a task gets completed, it gets moved to a different section, and I get a little automated piece of praise. So that is nice. Some wellness tokens. While that's all going on in the background, there's quite a bit of work that Claude is doing that we no longer have to. I just wanted to share a bit about the experience building out the MCP server. So for anyone thinking about building one yourself, I think one key takeaway from myself and the folks at Asana that built ours is that tuning your prompts and the tools that you provide is still as important as ever. You want to make sure that the model knows how to use your tools effectively. If you just give it the entire API, it without much description, it tends to get confused. So good
Yes,
documentation is good
100%.
as always.
That is
And
important.
also wanted to highlight that using Cloudflare got us up and running super quickly. Let us focus on the user experience and the way we present our tools to the model rather than focusing on all the protocol infrastructure. All right, so heading back over here to Claude, all these actions have been completed. So we can see some different assignees for these tasks. A bunch have been completed and a bunch of due dates updated. This is just the tip of the iceberg. We're super excited about what people are going to build on top of this. Some other ideas we have or that we've tried that we don't have time to show today are synthesizing information from your different projects and pushing out documents or presentation artifacts into Drive or any other like document providers. Pulling tasks in to Cursor or Claude Code for implementation. So going from ticket to like pull request is now super possible. And we're also building out a feature in Asana that will allow you to use it to manage work for agents that take actions and complete knowledge work, both inside and outside of Asana. So ton of possibilities with this new MCP paradigm. We hope that this makes your daily work experience all the more delightful. Thanks.
The really cool thing is
Stuart, that was a
that they
wonderful
just have
demo,
to
and this has
build
grown so much since I think you and I
Here, I'm
met
gonna.
and you stood this up.
They just have to build the MCP server, and then people can integrate with it. However, like they don't even have to actually integrate with it because they just build their own MCP server, and then those integrate automatically. It's very cool.
And MCP kind of reduces so much of the overhead that we all think of like, oh, I'm going to go create this whole Gantt chart, this whole project plan for something. Is that what you're kind of seeing in terms of how people are starting to use different tools around Asana?
Yeah, absolutely. So something that Asana has been thinking about for a while is really how to reduce this work about work. And this just makes it easier than ever to actually
Yeah,
just
complex UIs are made much
delegate
simpler
a
with
lot of
natural
those
language.
maybe manual encoding or meeting action items that do pop up that are part of the glue work to get a project going. So I feel like that's definitely one of the core use cases here.
And then maybe for both of you, I'm curious for something that was counterintuitive about tuning tools or descriptions. Like we've been building a lot of our own MCP servers, and we announced a couple today ourselves, but we've been finding like exactly what you said, Stuart, matters so much. Like not just kind of shoving a whole API into an MCP server, but being very deliberate. Like what surprised you about building descriptions for MCP tools?
I think that the nature of Asana's API, maybe in particular, and our data model is that it's very rich, it's very full featured, but also a bit overwhelming for anyone who isn't a power user to understand all of the concepts and different flows that you might have to take between different API routes to get something done. So having tool descriptions, sort of like
Yes,
way
I
you
think the future of UI
described
is
the
definitely
API to a
dynamic.
junior developer
UI
was
on
actually the
demand.
way we
And
were thinking
if
about it.
you
And
if your
it helped a lot to
client
have
builds a
hints
UI
like,
that you really like, then I do think
use
that you could
this
save that and
endpoint
then just
first
be able to
for
use it in the
these
future.
types of
But yes,
searches
dynamic UIs is the future.
before moving on to this more complex and powerful endpoint, but that needs a bunch more prior data as inputs.
And I think that
So
MCP
just little
servers will be
hints
able to
like
serve
that, and
specific
also
components that are really good for
focusing in
a
on
particular UI. So like the Gantt
those
chart
core
would be a
tools
perfect
rather
component.
than,
Like instead of just giving
adding
them a wall of
100
text that
plus
describes the Gantt
API
chart,
routes
just give them the
that
Gantt
we
chart
have
and they can look
available
at it, and then they
publicly.
can use natural language to control the
Yeah, and I
different
think
pieces.
add to that as well, just from observations, like models, I think need a lot more improvement over the next months and years to use a ton of tools and orchestrate them in the right ways. I think Claude is one of the better ones that I've seen at being able to disambiguate, but there's still room for improvement for it being able to distinguish which tool it should call at which time. And so some of the prompting that we've spent a lot of time on is how do you nudge Claude to use the right tool based on the context and don't overuse this other tool. I think it's classic prompt engineering, but it's just a new way of a whole bunch of prompts to be engineering at once.
Yeah, I think we need a dynamic server discovery,
Absolutely.
tool
Well,
discovery
Stuart,
thing.
thank you so much. That was a wonderful demo. It's really cool even to see everybody starting to think about different MCP servers connected together. And so with that, we want to kick it over to Mike from Square.
Yes, that's what I'm excited about.
Or Square Block, both combined, I guess.
Yeah.
But Mike, take it away.
Great, thanks. I'm excited to be a part of this this demo here. Yeah, and so many of you are probably familiar with Square, maybe less so with the parent company Block. But at Square, our goal, we started with the little white reader that you maybe see at coffee shops to make it so that anybody can take credit card payments. And we've really grown into like a whole lot more than that. We have this like big seller dashboard, a big iOS and Android app that let you manage everything that you would want to do with your business. So, you can create items, manage the inventory for those items, customers, your like staff, fulfill orders. Like there's just a ton that we do. And I'm specifically an engineer on the developer platform team at Square. And so what we do is we like package all those things into like a bunch of APIs. Like I think we have like around 200, so that we can basically meet sellers where they're at. So it's like if somebody wants to be able to deliver with DoorDash, they can do that, by still using their Square catalog, for example. Or, maybe they have like a totally unique situation, because that's often the case with a small business. There's some uniqueness there. So I'm very excited to talk about our new remote MCP server here, which I think is like kind of a similar moment to like that little Square reader where it kind of democratized the ability to create payments. In the same way, now it's like anybody can have like an assistant, without having to like hire somebody and pay them a ton of money or go through sort of the pain of trying to manually do everything yourself, because we could like build good UIs, but ultimately it's it's always going to be tedious. So right here, I'm just asking Claude to tell people about my Square store, and it's kind of going through the MCP server. This time it was pretty fast, and it created a nice description for you all, which by the way, all of this store, I just created the content with the Square MCP server. And so I've got the Square sandwich shop, with a bunch of menu items, some sides, and we're open through the evenings. And it even like
That's actually
gives
way
a little
cool.
call out to Square, so that's pretty nice. But the MCP server does more than just read. So like, let's imagine, so I'm a busy small business owner, and while I'm talking to you all, one of my customers walks in, and I'm trying to remember, what does Emily normally order? I want to be able to impress her that I remember her face. I can just ask my AI assistant here, and it'll search through Emily's previous orders, and also search for my customer Emily. And then it'll search for my customer Emily. Thankfully, I only have one customer named Emily here. Otherwise, it would probably ask me like, "Hey, do you mean Emily Johnson or Emily Smith?" But it does that, and it tells me that she's one of my loyal customer who normally orders the perfect square sandwich with a side of fries and a square root float. And occasionally she'll do something different. But let's say that we just want her to order her usual thing, and I gotta like demo some sort of payment space because I do work for Square, and
Yeah,
that's what most
so
people know us
what's
about. So
cool
I'll
is they
ask,
could have
let's just
built a
create an
wrapper
online checkout
for
link for
like
her
their own
usual
app
order,
that
so
includes
that we
that
can
can
just
do
have her
all of these
pay
things,
in a
like
web
a
browser.
specific
Kind
LLM
of
for their
forced
app
example
that can
here,
answer all
but
your
I'm not
questions and all
gonna
of this stuff. But
open the
what's cool
point
is
of
they
sale
didn't
for you
have to. They
all
could
in
build
this
an
demo.
MCP server, and now any
And so
LLM
it goes through.
host
You can kind of see it
application
build
can
the
interact with
requests
it,
as
and
it's
that is
going
what's cool.
through. It's
And
adding my
what
line
other
items here,
MCP servers that are
my
installed in that
fries,
client
my
will
root
also
beer
be
float.
able to
And in this
interact
case, it
and
actually
solve the
encounters
user's
an error
problems,
because
which
I
is cool.
have like a fake phone number under Emily's customer account. But the cool thing about like the MCP um, server protocol is that the AI can like correct for these mistakes itself if you give it like a good error message. And so I kind of purposefully left that all for you, and then it's eventually able to create the payment link without having the fake phone number, basically, which I can open. I will spare you all kind of putting in my credit card information. But we do have a real order here, which I guess you all could open too, but only do that if you want to give me like 20 bucks. But cool. And then I have another demo. I wanted to, let's just open a new tab here so that we have a fresh context window. And so in this scenario, like I'm imagining that, okay, I want to add a brunch menu to my store. So learned language models, or Claude is great at like extracting text from images. And this is like a really great use case for the MCP server. So I could just like take a picture of my menu that I created, who knows when during my busy time. And then Claude will look and see, okay, I got to make sure that I have the brunch menu hours on my location. In this case, I forgot to remove those before this demo. So it detects that I already have brunch hours. Oops. For Sunday, I guess, but not for Saturday. It has my brunch hours for Saturday. And then it's going to go through and basically create the catalog objects. And so I should mention here is like a segue, the way that, so for like developers, the way that we built this MCP serve is a little unique. Because Square's API is so big, it basically seems impossible for us to expose every action that people want to do as a tool. So in this case, we like basically layer things where I force the AI to be spoon-fed information, where we say, okay, first you need to call and say, what are the available services at Square that I can interact with? And then after that, it says like, how do I call that? So we have like the what and the how, and then finally we have the do as in actually make the API call. And this is actually like, I'm really surprised at how well this has worked. I'd be interested to see once real people are using this in the wild, if it is also as useful for them as it is for me. And it'd be interesting too to see if more people adopt kind of a layering approach. But anyway, so in this case, there are like a bunch of things to add to the menu, and so it's kind of doing it bit by bit because I built the prompts to kind of nudge the AI to do that. And it's inserting the categories, the items, the sides, and then like the desserts and the beverages. Um, and okay, and it looks like it succeeded. So I might as well go into the Square dashboard here and confirm that things look as expected. And things look as I expect because I kind of purposefully tripped up the AI here. In this case, you'll notice I actually have some duplicate items because I have items on my brunch menu that are also in my dinner menu, in addition to like the hash browns and that sort of thing. But that's okay. The beauty of like the chat model is that like I don't just have this static thing. I could tell the AI, hey, I see that you duplicated some things. Can you fix that for me? Figure it out. And this is like kind of a complicated action, so we'll see how well it does for our live demo. I don't have any like backup here. I'm just totally doing it live. But what it's going to try to do is search for the catalog objects, see like what are the duplicate things in my catalog, and then delete the duplicates. And right now it's just telling me what the duplicates are, which is nice before I guess it does the delete action. So we'll just let it fill in. Cool. And yeah, we have an endpoint on catalog called batch delete objects that takes in the ID. And it looks like it did that. Now it recognizes too, well, now we have like categories in the existing dinner menu items that, we need to like include for brunch. Right, because in my menu, I had like a morning quadrant menu or something, or title or something like that. So again, it looks like it's searching through our brunch items. In this case, yeah, it looks like it's going through 2 at a time for some reason. And then hopefully should determine if any of these need to have a category added. So yeah, that's pretty much the demo here. Yeah, I'm really excited, kind of looking forward to see.
This demo is way cool. There's just, when you have a really powerful API that or app that like can do a lot of really cool things, building an MCP server on top of that and describing it well just gives you so much power. And then just imagine if this shop owner also had a website and had developers who are working on that website, and they needed to make an issue based on something that they are getting out of their Square shop experience. Then those two integrating together, really cool.
How, like, once other people support remote MCP servers, and then once things are more mature too, just how we'll be able to like integrate with other partners. You can imagine a restaurant who wants to like order like raw food items for the day, be able to just use the Square MCP and then whatever food supplier is to like create a purchase order that then they kind of manually verify. And there's like so many things out there, and every business is unique. So super excited to have this out there. Thanks.
It's a really wonderful demo. I think about like the origin story of Square was like running a whole business on your phone, and
Yeah.
it's so cool to imagine too, like talking to Cloud and being able to run your business that way when you don't have a laptop open, and how where that could go next.
Yeah, exactly. I have not like got to test any of like the text to speech stuff. I think that'll be super cool. Especially yeah. So I'm excited to see where the future brings us.
Wonderful. And then I know we have a bunch of developers. We've got maybe 1 more minute. Do you want to say a little bit more about the layering approach? I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So basically, so Square like has a huge like our AI like object models are very complex, and we have a lot of like API like APIs themselves. So yeah, it's like I wanted a way to be able to let the person using the MCP server do anything, without having to like have them like restrict the tools that they're using themselves. And by only like having 3 tools, I basically am able to like consistently get the AI to do things in the order that I say it to, at least for Sonnet. So that's like also props to the Anthropic guys, I guess.
Very cool. Well, it was a great demo. We got a bunch coming up next. We're just going to transition real quickly to let a couple more people into the call. And so we'll be right back in maybe 20 seconds. But stay tuned because we got a bunch more people joining.
Yeah, this is very cool.
Cool. I see people joining. We got Stripe, Webflow, Sentry, Linear, Atlassian coming up next. We got a jam-packed agenda. I see people joining the call. This is great. We have so many presenters today that I think we're going to break Riverside. So shout out to our AV team keeping it all together. It's been really cool, Mahesh, as people are joining to see like how many people are thinking about different MCP servers, just even within this group being able to interop. I'm excited to see the Linear demo, thinking about the Intercom one. Like that seems like where some of the real power comes from.
Yeah, definitely. I think the next month or two, hopefully because of this launch, we're just going to see, I don't know, tens, hundreds of these, which is going to be really, really exciting. But yeah, one cool thing that I really appreciate about the demo is like the layering approach, letting Claude's intelligence basically make the decisions about what information to give to every API kind of on its own. I think there's a lot for us to figure out about authentication and user consent when it comes to the layering approach as well. something from the protocol side as well as the AI apps and clients that are building with this. But how do you let the user either know about what's happening behind the scenes when it's calling multiple APIs within the tool, and give them the ability to maybe put some control over that. But yeah, super, super cool demo.
Awesome. Well, with that, I want to kick it over to Matt from Stripe. Payments are clearly a hot topic in all of this. So Matt, take it away.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, I'm Matt. I'm an engineer from Stripe, and Stripe's all about building developer tools for businesses to grow their revenue. So today I want to show you how you could monetize your own MCP servers. So let me share my screen real quick. Okay. All right. So here I have a basic MCP server built on top of the Cloudflare SDK. And pretty easy to get started. And I have this sample tool here that generates emojis. So basic example here. But in real world cases, oftentimes you might want to charge for users to actually use this tool. So if this was like generating images,
I'm excited about this one.
So how can you do that? Well, with just a couple lines of code, you could import this paid MCP agent from Stripe's agent toolkit here, and then you can just.
Oh my goodness, that is awesome! Wow, this is crazy. This is wow. I did not expect it to be this easy. Holy smoke.
Convert that tool call into a paid tool call and then copy over some configuration from Stripe. And it's really just that easy. So with this, now I have an MCP server that they can charge my users. So let me hop over into the Stripe dashboard and explain what each of these are. So in the Stripe dashboard, I created this product emoji generator, and I set up a specific price for this. So the first 3 usages are free, and then it's going to be 10 cents for the next ones. And I have this emoji generator meter here. And so this is basically like as people like call my emoji generation thing, it will hit this meter, and I could see like the live usage and like the different users that hit that. So again, just a couple lines of code. Let's hop into Claude and try to get this to demo. So I asked Claude, like, can you generate me a strawberry emoji using this tool? And I, added that MCP here. We call this test money cash payments. But we have the generate emoji tool here. And, you can see that I asked to generate it, and then it asked for me to pay, actually. So you get 3 free generations, and then it's 10 cents per each next one. And then it gave me this link. So, we kind of talked about this in the previous demos, but in the future, you could totally imagine this being like, I could pay in line here, I could have an agent pay for me. So what's also interesting here is you could actually see Claude telling you like, you have to pay, or, I could probably just give you the strawberry emoji myself. And that's kind of interesting too, because LLMs here, like, you could really imagine this as a marketplace. And so if you have different companies with different tools, like it's interesting to see like the LLMs kind of deciding like, is this tool really worth like purchasing? So in the case of an emoji generator, probably not, but we're going to ball out and we're going to buy it. So let me head over. I'm going to pay for this very quickly. And then once this is processed, I will be able to head over back to Claude, and then I should be able to say like, generate me an emoji of a banana. I paid for the tool. And so this is generating, and it, I could see the banana emoji here. And then if I look at the meter as well, you can see like this event just got hit by my customer. So let's ask it to generate 10 fruit emojis. So, this is just going to go one at a time. It's going to generate, and then you could see like the meters popping up over here. So you can imagine in the real world, you might have like a ton of users all hitting these meters, and you could see this increase. So this goes ahead and then creates a bunch of these. My emoji generator is kind of buggy, so you'll be able to see that it's not the greatest at generating oranges. But we could see this increasing here. And then what's also interesting is I could go into the customers tab, and then I'm using MCP demo day at example.com, and you could see like this created that subscription. And if I look into this, you can see the first 3 were free, and then like it's going to charge for the next couple, and it generated all of these. You could see like pick like an orange textbook. And Claude's smart enough to notice that, some of them are incorrect. But yeah, I mean, from here, you can imagine it's pretty easy to just send an invoice to your customers and so on. But I think the reason that we're so excited about this is literally just a new channel for businesses. We didn't have to build a website or front end or anything. Like here, MCP is kind of both the front end and the back end, if you imagine it that way. And more and more clients are going to start supporting this, and it's just a really interesting space.
Amazing demo. I'm really excited to try this. It's really clever how you wrapped tool calls like that. Can you say a little bit more about like what you built there and how it works?
Yeah, definitely. And we actually have docs that I could link to as well. But on top of our agent toolkit, we actually just wrap literally the Cloudflare agent. And so when you call this .pay tool, we're wrapping your tool and storing Stripe state inside of a Cloudflare durable object. And with the OAuth example too, when you log in with OAuth, it uses the user that's logged in, and then it like creates a customer for you. So we try to abstract that all away behind the scenes for you.
Amazing. And I'm curious, just like maybe for both of you, what types of like MCP native internet businesses do you think that people on this call who are listening should start experimenting with here?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely an interesting thing. We actually have like seen like 50 plus people already reached out, interested. But you can imagine something like scheduling appointments or something like that. You might want to just do that natively inside of your app without having to switch to a different website. I don't know if you have other examples, Mahesh.
No, I think that one's a good one. Generally speaking, I think agents that are able to go and interact with various stores and maybe even other agents to go get some resources that are protected or go ask for permission to do something. And the permission there is payment in some sense. So yeah, really excited to see how this goes.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anything we know about checkout flows, it's that friction is like something that's entirely worth fighting against, and anything that's going to knock down some of those barriers is going to build a great business around it. I love this scheduling example. Great, Matt, thank you so much for the demo. It's been wonderful to work with you guys at Stripe on this. I'm excited to see what developers listening on this call start to build with all this stuff together. Next up, we have Anushri from Webflow. Anushri, take it away.
Hello. Hi, Mahesh and Brendan, and thank you for inviting me. I'm Anushri Gupta. I manage the developer relations team here at Webflow, and it is my pleasure to demo Webflow's MCP server for you. I'm going to share my screen. Let's go. Oops. And, all right, can you see this?
You got it.
For those who may not know, Webflow is a website experience platform where marketers, designers, and developers can work together to build, manage, and optimize sites that drive business impact. With Webflow's MCP server, you can access Webflow's data APIs through natural language prompts to support CMS management, auditing, and improving SEO, content localization, site publishing, and so much more. Before I jump into the demo, I am going to quickly show you around Webflow to see what it looks like. So this is my awesome site. This is something I picked up from, I just cloned a template from one of the thousands of templates available in our marketplace. What I'm going to demo today is creating a CMS collection. Webflow CMS is a powerful tool that allows users to create and manage dynamic content on their websites efficiently. Now jumping into Cursor. Now Webflow CMS MCP server works with Cursor, Windsurf, and Cloud Desktop. I will be using Cursor for the demo today. Let's hop into Cursor. All right, let's just get a list of my websites. Now, the way this is organized is, well, I do have, this is a workspace that I share with a number of my teammates. So you'll see we have a bunch of sites here. Now, because I was showing you my awesome site, let's just use the awesome site to create a series of blog posts using our API changelog. And then we'll add a few fields in there to, let's add a summary of the change, an author name, get creative with author names. And then let's just do the last 5 entries for now. So the way this is going to work is it's going to get the specific site first. A site has collections. Each collection has a structure which will have, for example, in this case, we're going to have a date, we're going to have a summary, we'll have the actual content, and then we'll have a number of collection items which will correspond to the change log that we've put out, that's the process we're kind of going through today. So we've created a change description, we've added a summary, let's see, we have an author and a release date. That makes sense. All right. And then once this is done, it's going to go through the last 5 changelog entries, and then we'll add some author names and summaries there. Once we're done here, we'll jump back into Webflow to see how this actually works and what the output looks like and how we publish it to the web. We're also going to just create this in a staging area. So I don't want to publish this out to the web, out to the internet yet. We're just going to keep it for ourselves, play around with it a little bit, and then then we'll make it go live. All right, number 3 is almost done. Let's see, number 4. We can jump back into my awesome site to take a look at what's going on here. All right, let's make sure we have the latest version. Okay, so we have 4, well, the 5th one will come to. And so as you can see, there was nothing here. The agent sort of went through our changelog, got data from there. And what we're gonna do now is, what Webflow does by default is it'll create a template page for you. Let's use our design assistant to add some magic here. What do I want the page to look like? Let's see, maybe this one. All right, so we'll create a page where we want our all of our blog posts to show and what we want them to look like. Let's see. That's good. We are going to set this to be our actual change description. There we go. This can maybe be the name of this post. This will be our actual release date. This will be our author, Binary Bard. All right, so I think this looks fairly good. Let's just publish this. So it's live. And then we'll go to this has been published, and let's see. And here it is. Here's our page. It's live. So I really just asked an agent to create some CMS items for me. We hopped back into Webflow, created a page, used the AI design assistant to design a page, added some CMS items, and published it. All right, so in terms of what's next, this is very exciting, but we do have a few more things. We're obviously adding tooling as we speak to reflect our data API. But what I'm really excited about is as the standard evolves and we're able to add more tooling, I am looking forward to bringing AI native workflows to the main Webflow experience via our designer APIs. And finally, if you want to learn more, there is mcp.webflow.com. If you want to check out the tooling available, what you can do, that's our doc page for you. Back to you, Mahesh and Brendan.
Wonderful. That was a great demo. I think it really also highlights some of like where things might need to go in the future of visual content and kind of how people can really understand outside of just a chat interface, kind of what MCP is doing on their behalf. I'm really excited to see what people, including Webflow, kind of experiment with there.
Thank you. Same here.
Wonderful. Well, we've got a couple more demos to kind of kick things off into. Cody, I think you are up next. Anushree, thank you so much for the demo from Webflow. From Sentry. Sentry has been building a bunch of stuff. And actually, Sentry, you guys did some cool stuff I remember seeing really early with evals for your MCP tools.
I thought that we were going to get David for this demo.
I want to jump right into the demo and get things rolling. So,
not that I don't like Cody. I've never met Cody, but I'm sure that Cody is great. I'm looking forward to this demo. Also, Cody's kind of loud.
I'm gonna assume everyone's seeing the things that we want them to see and that you're seeing my Claude screen. So hello friends. My name is Cody D'Arkland. I look after developer experience at Sentry. And something that we haven't seen so far today is kind of the end-to-end flow of getting set up inside of the MCP remote server. So bringing that into something like Claude. And then I'll go in and dive into some of the Sentry workflows. So really excited for it. Cloudflare has made this really easy to build. And so we're going to jump in and show it. So I'm in Claude.ai right now. I'm going to head down at the bottom, go into settings, and I'm going to bring in our Sentry MCP server. So I'll go in here. We'll type in Sentry, just give it a random name. And I'm going to plug in that URL. So mcp.sentry.dev. This URL is actually the same landing page that exists. So we use the same URL for both. So you get a ton of information around how the MCP server works from here. We had a nice little diagram generated here that talks about the communication flow. And you can see all the tools that are available for Sentry. So we care a lot about context in Sentry and being able to give people a good understanding of what's happening with issues inside of their environment, how their application's performing. And so our view is that we want to make it very easy to pull that context in and drop it into the LLMs to work with. And MCP makes for a great path to that. MCP is all about bringing better context into the LLMs, and that's the entire goal of what we did inside of the MCP server. So that's set up right here. I'm going to go ahead and hit add, and this is going to go out and connect to that remote MCP server that we're hosting inside of Cloudflare. We built it on Cloudflare because they made it very easy to build production grade MCP servers. From the first steps building it.
Cloudflare rocks. Yeah, they really got this figured out.
Like OAuth integrated. And so instead of having to clone down and try to run this locally, you just connect to it remotely. And since you're signing in with OAuth, it's getting all the permissions that apply to you directly inside of your environment. So the orgs that you can see, the projects you have access to, that's all available for you. And so right from the scratch, I was able to go in and configure that. You can see all the tools that we have available now. So again, when I talked about context before, these are all different parts of context that we want to be able to bring into the workflow that people are using as they build and troubleshoot applications and problems inside of their environment.
If I understand the MCP spec correctly, those shouldn't be tools. They should be resources. But Claude doesn't. I don't know how to use resources with Claude yet. So
that we have available to call off of. Some of these are simple queries. Some of these are objects that get created. Some of these are jobs that you want to run inside of a project. So I'm going to go in and just show me all the Sentry projects I have access to. This is going to go out, interact with that remote MCP server, and pull down all of that.
This is why we need UI. It'll display much better as UI than text.
I have access to. Once it gets that back, it's going to use that to go and query all of the different projects that are available. So you saw I got the build with code one. That's my personal org inside of Sentry. It's going to go in and list out all the projects. I'm going to shift this over to the side so we can see Sentry in the background. And again, these are all the projects that I have access to. I feel like Claude is shaming me a little bit, calling out the 33 projects that I have because I get distracted with building things all the time. But these are all of the different projects that I have active in here. And if we go into Sentry, we can scroll through and see all those available here. So this is connecting into my real environment. This was all from scratch. So now we can go in and do something a little bit more interesting, like tell me more about the Unborked project. This is a project that I do a bunch of demo stuff out of that I use for dog fooding internal processes, internal features. And so this is going to go out and it's going to chain calls. And I think that's what's really interesting about MCP is not just that you can have these individual calls that do a thing. It's the way we can layer on these calls to bring additional context in. So this kind of vague question of tell me about this project really has multiple levels to it. There's the issues that are happening in there, right? Things that are going wrong inside of the application, problems that are happening, crashes, performance issues, all of that. But then there's also things like what are releases looking like? What are other things that are coming into the project overall? All of that can be brought in. Autofix was another one that I wanted to talk about there, being able to call out different autofix jobs that have run against your project to understand what was broken and how you actually get it fixed. Slowing down a little bit here as it goes and pulls this down, but it's going to go through and pull all of these different tools to build one kind of final answer about the summary of that environment. So let it run for a second here while it goes through and does all of that. So it's getting issue details right now. If we go in and do list issues and scroll down, we can see the actual output from it behind. So the markdown output, Claude's taking all of that and parsing it out into a bit more of a human readable format. Now, while this is processing, like I want to call out, we're not trying to build a better chat interface for interacting with Sentry, and we're not trying to build something that's going to just replace APIs. What we want to build is a really good surface area for getting context out of Sentry and bringing that into the place where developers live, usually inside of their code and inside of their IDEs or inside of Claude. Like it's all about making sure that context is available. So obviously all of us are doing these demos inside of the chat interface, but I think all of us who are building these MCP servers really see this as a path to bringing information about environments a lot closer to our users. So we get this nice project overview with a ton of information around what's going on inside of this environment, including one of the issues that's having a problem. You can see that one match up over here on the left-hand side inside of Sentry to that Unborked 14 one, where it talks about what's going on. Now, I've ran an autofix job with Seer inside of this project already. So autofix is our AI agent that'll go in and pull all the context that we're talking about and feed it into AI to help figure out what actually broke and how to fix it. I can pull that information in also. So I can come in and say, show me the autofix status for Unborked 14, which is an issue ID from Sentry, matching this one up here. I could have just told it to list out autofix status and it would have used context to go and find it. Just a little bit shorter this way. I can allow this, and it's going to go and pull in that autofix information. Now, that's going to take a few moments to actually pull this in, so I don't think we need to sit here and scroll and watch it actually process all of it, but we can see some of the things that it's bringing in. We'll go into Sentry and take a look at the equivalent run on the Sentry side. The Sentry side, it went through and pulled this error looked at what was wrong, looked inside of traces, stack traces, our code that's connected in GitHub, pulled all that information together and looked at what was actually causing this problem. And so I think a lot about when I'm building applications with AI or I'm building inside of, Cursor or Windsurf today, a lot of times when something breaks, I just copy and paste the error in. But what if you could take that error and all of the context around the things surrounding it, the backend services, points in the trace that were failing, exact areas in the stack traces where these problems are showing up? What if you included all of that in the context of your go fix this for me AI? It's going to be a lot smarter, because I think we all know that the more context we provide to the agents, the better they get at returning information. And so this is the solution all the way through. I can go and have it code it, pull a PR for me.
I'm not sure I agree that the more context you provide, the better solution they make. Sometimes you provide too much context and they get lost. But yeah, okay.
Just that auto fix result.
It's really about the right context.
Paste this in and just have it go and fix that. Or I can actually query it directly from Windsurf using the MCP tools also. So this is using that same remote MCP server. I can come in here and say, get the auto fix for unborked 14. And it should actually take all that information, pull it down, and start chaining the fix for it and actually process it right inside of the IDE. So what we care about most at Sentry is fixing these broken issues. If you use AutoFix inside of the Sentry UI to do that, that's great. You can get the PR experience and go in and merge that change in. Or if you want to bring it in and pull it in directly from something like Windsurf and run it here, that's fine also. Either way is totally good for us. We just want to make sure that the information you're getting is actually going to fix the problem for you. And so that's still running inside of here. So we'll give that some time to go through. But I could use all of that information to go and actually drive a fix against this one directly from inside of Cursor or Windsurf. In this case, like I said, using Windsurf. So as we start to cruise through the end of this, we can come in. There's a bunch of different tools that we expose out. The idea here is to enable better workflows inside of LLMs. And so for like one of my favorite ones is this create project. Obviously I have an issue. I have 33 projects that are created. Being able to use like the project one to go in and say, I want to instrument Sentry in this new project, and have the LLM be able to say, cool, I have these tools that'll help me go and do this for you. I can go in and create your project. I can pull the DSN back. That's how we connect Sentry into the Sentry environment, connect Sentry in an SDK into your Sentry environment. I can pull that DSN in, apply it to your application, install the Sentry configs, and be good to go. And so that's like an entire workflow that will use a bunch of these different tools as part of its flow. Same thing applies for listing out DSNs or telling it to begin autofix. What if when a problem happened inside of your application, you had rules in place inside of Cursor or Windsurf that would tell it, hey, go instrument logs with Sentry, go in and run autofix against the issues that come through, bring the solution in and apply it, right? That's the workflow that we're trying to drive here. And that's the unique context that using MCP is going to enable for people. And again, using Cloudflare with this made it really easy for us to prototype this, build it. And my biggest advice for anybody who's curious in the space and wants to learn more is go try it out, right? You'll be shocked at how fast you can go from zero and the tools that Cloudflare set up to have something wired up using OAuth that will let you go in and pull additional context from outside of systems in, like we've done for Sentry here. It's been a short road to get here, but it's been pretty great to see how fast we were able to make good progress with it. If you want more info, drop into the Sentry docs. We got these up today, the demo videos in there, as well as all the setup information.
Cody, that was a wonderful demo. It's really exciting to think about like how really big, complex software systems with hundreds of people contributing to them get so much more accessible with all these tools, right? Like some other team service over here, you've never looked at an exception in your life, and suddenly you're able to do things with it.
Yeah, I think that's totally true. Imagine you're a new person on a team, and someone says, hey, this application's broken. And you can go in and just say, hey, tell me about what's happening with this app. And it brings all this information and how to actually fix it. And I think what we're seeing here is the lowering of the bar to doing really hard things inside of software across the board. And I think things like MCP really stitch that together and make it easy to bring those possibilities in wide ways, not just Sentry ways, in wide ways. So it's really exciting for me. I'm really happy for it.
Awesome. Well, and then if you want to transition from, you have all this debugging context over here to create a task or an issue, we have Tom Moore, who's up next from Linear, who's going to tell us about Linear's MCP server. Tom, take things away.
Hey guys, that is a tough act to follow, Cody has a lot of presence there. So we'll try and do our best here. I've already gone through the installation that Cody went through, so you can kind of see we have our linear MCP server that's already connected. I also have the Sentry one as well, actually. We were testing that, and they work pretty well together. But I will just, oh, I forgot to introduce myself. So yes, Tom from Linear, engineering lead here. And for those of you that don't know what Linear is, it is an issue tracker. We make a purpose-built tool for planning and building products. We have a lot of like pretty great companies using us, from like Cash App, Vercel, Ramp. They all use Linear to build their products. So yeah, my demo is pretty short in compared to some of the others, but we're going to do it live, and it's all in production, and you can use these tools today with your own Linear account. So let's see how this goes.
I'm going to share your screen.
Oh yes, good reminder. Thank you. Let me pull that up. Thank you very much. Yeah, so before I was mentioning, we already have these tools set up here. I have Sentry, and I have a bunch of our own tools here. I've got a few deselected just to make sure that hopefully this demo goes pretty well, but you can see the types of tools that we're providing to Claude and to any other clients that use our MCP server. Okay, so for this demo, I have my rideshare account here, which is a ride-sharing application. So let's have Claude pull in my issues. Can you tell me what my linear issues are? Hopefully this goes well. We pray to the LLM and to the demo gods. Awesome. So it's managed to pull that information in, and we can see which issues are assigned to me and kind of a brief description of each. Which do you think is the most important? Maybe this will work. Awesome. Looks like this is currently the highest priority issue to work on. So one cool thing about this is we can use the additional context that Claude has, and hopefully some of the extra tools that Claude has to help us debug this issue. So help me diagnose the problem and research a solution for this bug. This is what I was hoping would happen. So Claude can go out and use its web search tools and go and search from Stack Overflow and a bunch of other places into why this might be happening. So the bug here seems to be we have strange characters appearing inside of our web application, specifically occurring in Internet Explorer. I wonder why that might be. All right, so it actually searched 40 different websites. So it's probably got a pretty good idea of what might be causing this at this point. I see we have a diagnosis, we have some potential solutions. Could be that we're just missing something as simple as the UTF-8 set. Okay, so perfect. Can we, oh, that disappeared. I knew something live would happen. Can we update the issue with the results of your research? I think we had a little Claude bug there because the whole research disappeared, but hopefully it's able to recover. Perfect. See it retrieved the issue from Linear again, and now it's writing an update here with the findings. Perfect. Let's go over here and check that that worked out okay. Excellent. And it looks like it wants to drop a comment on there too. with some additional steps. Like, I'm actually quite busy right now, so I'm going to tell it to just go ahead and assign this issue to another engineer on the team here. In this case, it has to kind of look up the user's ID to be able to assign them, and it's able to chain those commands and figure out the right thing. And hopefully you saw on the right over here that none got assigned to that issue. Great, so that's kind of the meat of the demo. You can see we were able to pull in the context from the web and work on issues both reading and writing into Linear. We also have a number of tools for searching through your issues and projects and comments and all these other things. One of the nice things about this being a remotely hosted MCP server rather than something that's local is we're able to continuously deploy it. We deploy updates to the Linear application 20, 30 times a day, and we expect to be updating the MCP server continuously with new tools and refining it as we figure out all the ways that the LLMs like to use it and don't like to use it. We can make sure that it works better and better over time. I don't have
You gotta be kidding. Did you see that? I hope you didn't see that.
Kind of the ability to kind of combine different MCP tools was actually really nice. So internally, we did have one situation where we have the Sentry integration into Linear, and Claude was able to recognize that there was a Sentry link and then go and use the Sentry MCP to pull more information from the stack trace and from the user session and these types of things. So if you can imagine that also in your editor, then it really gives you a really great environment to debug and to move really fast, particularly on bugs, but also on things like developing new features as well.
Wonderful. Tom, thank you so much for this. It's really cool, again, like what you were saying, to see all these things working together. I love the example of like the research mode in Claude being used with Linear. And what you mentioned about like this advantage of building a remote server and being able to kind of control updates and not make sure people aren't out of date, got me thinking a little bit about like experimenting with different tool descriptions, or how do you do a little bit of a beta of a tool to a specific set of people, or give people early access, and some of those patterns.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good idea. I mean, that's one of the nice things about it using OAuth, so it has the full context of your account. So that's another thing that we do internally a lot, is we feature flag lots of different features that we're working on. So we could even obey those feature flags inside of the MCP server to make sure that context is very specific to the workspace and to the user.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. We got one more demo today from Atlassian. I think this is going to actually be a video recording because their team's based in Australia. And I think we're going to kick this off. So let's see if this plays.
Hello everyone, my name is Josh and I'm a head of product at Atlassian. Today I'm here to walk you through a demo of our new remote MCP server that we're announcing today. We're doing this because we want to be able to bring all of your Atlassian data from Confluence and Jira and beyond to the places where you work, whether that's in a model, an IDE, or something beyond. MCP is a great framework and protocol for us to be able to do this. For the first release, we're supporting Jira and Confluence Cloud. By supporting Jira, that means we also support Jira Product Discovery, Jira, and Jira Service Management. We'll be supporting more Atlassian products over the coming months. We build this in a way that respects your user permissions, and so if you're an admin out there, anyone who uses this will only be able to have access to the data that they already have access to with their Atlassian account. And we're working with a bunch of AI-first partners in this space, and so if there's any company out there that you'd love us to do a partnership with for the remote MCP server, please reach out. It's likely we're already talking to them. But let's jump straight into a demo. Here we have Claude on the left and Jira Product Discovery on the right. This is a list of all of the different ideas as a product manager that I've collected and rated the impact and effort and things for. We have used a the MCP server to summarize one of the issues already. And so what we actually want to do here is I think I would like to implement this one-click checkout idea over here. So let's say, can you please help me to create a product spec for WCF 7 in Confluence. And so this one is WCF 7. And so it has a bunch of data here that we have entered of why we think this is an important thing to do. Now you'll see for each of the different tools, Claude and Anthropic have implemented it so that you can say, I can allow this tool call for this specific chat or just for this specific instance. And so here, because we're going to be calling them a bunch, I'm going to say allow for this entire chat. It's going to go off and figure out what we should be doing here. So it's going to look for the Confluence spaces and then Confluence pages. And so it's going to figure out if there's anything that already exists in Confluence. So instead of just creating a Confluence page straight away, it's going to check if there are any. In this case, there are not. And so it's off to the races creating, using Markdown to create a product specification or product requirements document, PRD, for this one-click checkout implementation idea that we have stored in Jira Product Discovery. So it should be done pretty quickly, and then we can go check it out in Confluence. Okay, so it has asked me for permission to create a Confluence page, which I'm going to allow, obviously. And now that the page is created, it should come back with a quick link for us to go and have a look. All right, it's been incredibly thorough, apparently. Let's go over here and see if it actually created the link. Here we go. And so we have a bit of a summary of what we should be doing. So it's got functional requirements of all of the things that we need to build, non-functional requirements, etc. Obviously, if you have a different way of writing specs, you can absolutely prompt it a bit more. I just gave it a very generic prompt, obviously. But let's say, let's now use this page and break this product spec, Jira issues, in the WCFD, which is the delivery project. And so it should go off and analyze this page and help me break it down. And so obviously models are very good at breaking things like this down. So there's a bunch of different things here it's going to do. It's going to look at what Jira projects are available to check if this project exists, which I know it does. And then it's going to create an epic, which makes a lot of sense. We would like to have an epic that's connected to this product spec. And so now it's going to go off and create a bunch of different Jira issues. So we should see that happening. Here we go. I love the preview here, so you can see the request that it's making. And then we should start to see these starting to show up in the list view and in the board view. Here we go. So here's the first one that it's created, obviously in Jira. I'll pause this for a second while it goes through and creates all of these. Okay, so I'm back, and Claude has decided it's in a little bit of a waterfall-y mood. So we have a bunch of different phases: testing, development, research, launch, etc. But it's gone ahead and created all of these Jira issues. And so we can see over here, if we refresh the board, we should have a whole big list of Jira issues here that we can start implementing, which will be awesome. There you go. You'll notice that it's also linked each of these issues to the epic, which it created, so that they're child issues, and it's linked it to the Confluence page, which is awesome. Exactly what we want. So other things that we can do here, let's say we have implemented WCFD 23. Can you move it to done? And so it should go off and move this across the board for us. You can imagine if you were to do this from a model like this, or from an IDE as an example, super easy to just transition it from wherever you're working, makes it very easy. And it's decided that it wants to add a comment to the Jira issue as well, which says that it's been completed and what has been completed. Obviously, it's making a little bit up here, but you get the gist. If you're prompting it properly, it would be able to be more accurate about what it's putting in here. And so we should be able to see here, if we refresh, that the issue has been moved over to done, which it has, which is awesome. And so the last thing I think we could do here is this whole feature has now been implemented. Let's create a succinct and fun blog to announce it to our customers. Fun marketing blog. Create this draft page in Confluence. And so hopefully we get a nice little blog here that we can go off and start building on top of a little bit of a draft that we can release to our customers. So here we go. Say goodbye to checkout headaches with our new one-click checkout, which is exactly what we're doing. And so here we go. It's off writing it, and it should be done in a second. Great. Let's ask, oh, here it is. Here's the draft. Let's open it on this side. There we go. Say goodbye to checkout headaches with our new one-click checkout. It's put a little image in there, and it's written the blog. Obviously, this is just a starter. I would have to edit it and make sure it's all good before we launch it. But hopefully that gives you a little bit of an idea of how you can do a bit of an end-to-end workflow using Claude and the Atlassian MCP. We went through Jira product discovery with an idea. We created a product spec from that idea automatically, which I can then edit and change. We then broke that down into a whole bunch of different tasks. We transitioned one of those tasks to done. If we look over here, we can see that it added a comment on my behalf because it's using my token, obviously, of what it thought I did, which I didn't actually do, but you get the idea. And then we created a marketing blog draft based on what we had done. So there's a lot that you can do with the power of MCP. We're very, very excited to launch this, and we're very interested to see how you use it. Please send us your feedback. Please ask us for more APIs, for more products, etc., more partners. We're very, very keen to see what you want to do with it. Thanks so much. Have a great rest of your day.
Wonderful. Well, those are all of our demos for today. So I want to thank everybody who joined today. A couple themes that were really interesting. Payments was obviously a big topic. Task tracking was a big topic. And just to seed it, if you're watching this call right now, like it's almost like there should be paid agents that complete tasks for you, and you talk to them through Claude, something like that. I don't know, Mahesh, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I think a big part of our vision at Anthropic definitely aligns with agents being able to go help and be kind of a collaborator alongside you as the kind of individual doing the work. So big fan of that, big fan of a lot of the demos today.
Before we drop, what's next for Anthropic? Anything you want to tell us about?
Yeah, I think there are a ton of fast follows that we want to be working on. A lot of the MCP excitement historically has been around tools, but I think there's a lot of potential for resources and prompts and giving these agents these interfaces to actually interact with data as opposed to just tool results and tool inputs. And then I think we talked about this, but better interfaces for MCP servers to be able to generate code or to generate or elicit more information from the user. And then broadly, just the whole area of agents. I think servers are going to become more long running and do more complex tasks than just these single API calls. So the answer is there's a lot of stuff to work on.
It's been a busy time. There's a lot to do. On our side, we're really excited about MCP as the protocol for agents talking to other agents. As exactly as Mahesh was saying, like that, we designed the way you build an MCP server on Cloudflare very intentionally to use our agents SDK. And so actually, if you've built an MCP server on Cloudflare so far, it has all these building blocks to make it have persistent state, or to kind of, as like even a couple of the demos we're showing, interact with data a little bit more, or remember history. And we're thinking a lot about that space right now. And super excited to see where things go. Up next, we are going to have a session if you are interested in creating your own MCP server, led by Kent C. Dodds. It's not going to be on this stream, but if it's after we drop it, will be on the Cloudflare developers YouTube channel. We'll live stream it there. Craig Dennis from Cloudflare will be there, and live code an MCP server on Cloudflare. So if you want to give it a try, join. Thanks to all of our presenters. Thank you to Anthropic and to Mahesh. This has been a wonderful day, and see y'all on the internet.
Thanks for having me. So excited.
Well, that was cool. Yeah, really, really cool demos and everything. Very exciting to see what people are working on. And mostly I want to see more of people building things that integrate with other things. And so that's why I posted this earlier. I'm eventually going to do a more polished version of this video, but basically it just takes the 3 MCP servers that I wrote that are have different use cases entirely. One of them is identifying your location. Another one, it takes that information and passes it into the weather, and then it takes the information from both of those and passes it into the journaling app that I have that's a MCP only app experience. And that hopefully helps people like, oh, now I think I start to see the AI assistant as an actual assistant. It even, like here, we're doing authentication, which is pretty cool. So yeah, lots and lots of cool stuff. I'm going to be live in about an hour and 15 minutes on the Cloudflare stuff, so it's going to be sweet. I got a chat here from Lean. Kent, if I have Epic Web, can I connect to your workshop MCP? And if so, is there a link to see how? Yes, you can. Absolutely. The Epic AI Pro, if you go to Learn and Epic, introducing the Epic Workshop MCP, that will show you how you configure this in Cursor. I probably should link to Cursor documentation on installing MCPs, but MCP Cursor install right here. So I will update this right now. First off, I'm going to paste this into chat. There you go. But then I'm going to also update this to include a link. Okay. And then actually let's do VS Code MCP and Wind Surf MCP. And that way folks who are using those editors, you can also, let's see, call out. I've got a call out info. You can also use windsurf. VS Code. And no comma necessary there. Windsurf. All right, auto saving, sweet, it's auto saved. And so we should be able to go back and that should be there. Nope. Maybe I have to like actually hit save to have it publish. I don't know, don't really understand that. There it is. You can also use VS Code and Windsurf Cursor, boom. So yeah, take a look at that. It's pretty legit. With all that said, I think we're done. Here's something for those of you watching right now. There's just so much exciting stuff going on with MCPs today that I had to list another workshop. But that link is busted, and so I need to talk to the team. That should go under events. There we go. And currently, we're still wiring this up, so like stay tuned for actually being able to grab a spot. But yeah, this is going to happen May 19th. So this will be the 3rd MCP workshop that I'm running. And the reason that I listed this was just like, oh, I've got to, with the things going on today all about MCP, I probably could sell this out. And there's a lot that I still want to work on with this as well. So anyway, it's going to be a sweet workshop. Very much looking forward to it. I hope you come. And I'm going to go have lunch now before I have my live stream with Cloudflare. See you all later.